Kursk, Ukraine's bold move. Russia invaded. All you need to know. This is what we're gonna talk about today. This sign says Kursk Oblast. Welcome to the country of nightingales. So basically, this is the entrance to Kursk region of Russia. I doubt they were intent to welcome Ukrainian invaders, which is, by the information we have to this moment in time, regular army of foreign country, Ukraine, invaded Russia and captured whole bunch of Russian territories, and Putin can't do nothing about it. Hello there, I'm Elena. Welcome back to my channel Enough of Propaganda. Let's make truth available for everyone. I will try to summarize for you the most important facts we know and divide facts from the speculations, because during these 3 days, Ukraine kept silence completely, and still Ukrainian government didn't say anything. But now we have somewhat information from Ukrainians as well. Before that, all the information was coming from Russia, and Russian so-called Z-bloggers or Z-patriots, pro-Putin Telegram channels, which are reporting bad stuff about war as well as the good stuff. Only they trying to say everything is good and great, but even they whining now about, oh boy, Russia got invaded and Ukraine captured whole bunch of territories and so on. This post is from Arthur Rehi, famous YouTuber, who is saying that Ukraine has expanded the combat zone in the Kursk region to 430 square kilometers. I'll show you everything on the map as well, so you know where this is all happening. Also, they managed to destroy a Russian column near the city of Rilsk, which most likely moving to reinforce. I'll show you the facts and videos about that as well. Finally, some information started to come from Ukraine. The Ukrainian blackout of the invasion of Russia is gone. Here are soldiers of the 61st Brigade recording a video at the Gazprom offices in Sudzha, a district center of the Kursk region of Russia. The city is under control of armed forces of Ukraine and quiet.
З міста Суджа. Новини у нас такі. Місто контролюється Збройними силами України.
This is just about the first picture, which Ukrainians posted. The sign says Lyubimovka. It is Russian Federation, a Russian territory. These are the news. I just telling it to you a little bit, the fresh news first, and then we will go in order how it all happened. This is next channel. Russian soldiers in Kursk region surrenders as prisoners of war. We will talk about them a little bit later. It is also reported that Dmitriukov and Lyubimovka in Kursk region came out of under the control of armed forces of Ukraine. The Kursk Nuclear Power Plant is being prepared for defense. Rosgvardeyцы or Russian guards, Rosgvardia, without combat experience will be deployed to defend it. Rosatom, meanwhile, announced a reduction in the number of personnel at the construction site of power units in Kursk Nuclear Power Plant 2. The Russian authorities are not planning to impose martial law in Kursk region, so as not to cause panic among the population. Nevertheless, panic mood are clearly spreading in the region. These are Russian soldiers who gave themselves up. We will talk about them a little later. This is Dmitriukov sign with the Ukrainians there. This is Lyubimovka. They are making Ukrainian flag on the Russian place Lyubimovka, which we saw just now. So these are regular Ukrainian troops in Russian Federation. 2 days ago, Russian Commander-in-Chief of General Staff Valery Gerasimov was reported to Putin and new Minister of Defense Belousov, and also was Shoigu present and Chief of KGB, FSB. Look at their faces. Gerasimov lied that about everything, about the amount of Ukrainians entered, and promising, oh, in no time, Ukrainians would be kicked out of Russian territory and Russia will get to the borders of Russian Federation. What a change of the narrative. From Kyiv in 3 days, now they're dreaming to kick out invaders and get back to the Russian official borders. And the happy face of Putin. And what Russia did eventually? 3 days later, on August 9, they called the situation in the Kursk region is recognized as federal emergency. The Ministry of Emergency of the Russian Federation said that. What kind of emergency, I wonder? Aliens landed? Perhaps COVID? Or perhaps a flood? It's not an emergency situation. This is the war Russian President Vladimir Putin unleashed on Ukraine. And not in 2022, it was in 2014. Russia attacked Ukraine. Keep fighting this useless war for 10 years, over 10 years. And now, surprise, surprise, war came to Russian territory. Now let's talk a bit into details. Basically, I'm not showing you deep state map as I usually do, because they're not marking all of this. It was all hush-hush. And Ukraine was right. They had an element of surprise, and I'll show you in a minute how much territory they got. So this is Moscow, this is Ukraine. This is Kharkiv, where Russia was unsuccessfully trying to make an offensive for several months. And now, in 3 days, Ukraine captured almost as much as Russia in 3 months, or whatever they're trying to do in Kharkiv region. So this is Kursk and Kursk region. This is Sumy, which Russia, it's on Ukrainian territory, which Russia is bombing and shooting and shelling again and again. So Ukraine entered Russian territory. They captured a place called Sudzha. That's where we just saw the Ukrainians making a video from when they captured Gazprom. Then several other places were captured. And they get as far as Lvov and Rylsk. So in between Lvov and Rylsk, there is a place called Oktyabrskoye. And about 8 kilometers from that Oktyabrskoye, the whole Russian column was armored vehicles full of soldiers were destroyed. I'll show you it to you a little later. So Ukraine captured a huge territory. This is Lyubimovka we talked about. So, and somewhere here there is a Kurchatov place where the nuclear power plant is located. And this is the Kurchatov. Ukraine gets so close to the nuclear power plant in Russia. I don't think they have reasons to go right in the power plant, but maybe we will see. This is what William Spaniel showed on August 7th.
Projection of where Ukrainian troops have reached, again with the caveat that we do not really know what is going on here yet. That is a lot of territory in a very short period of time. Overlaying the actual border and adding in a scale for 5 kilometers, all of this territory winds up being roughly 135 square kilometers.
This was at the time. This is August 7th. So basically in a day. This is what Ukraine captured. And now over 430 square kilometers. So basically bigger than during Ukrainian offensive. This channel is Ukraine Matters. This is August 8th.
And yes, you heard it right. In 3 days, Ukrainians have entered the territory of Russia, penetrating it deeper than 40 kilometers deep. Like, the more accurate map, if you're looking for something like this, it is something this way.
So basically, all the screams about Russian invasion of Kharkiv region, Russian offensive. Oh boy, they took 3 villages perhaps, or 5 villages, teeny tiny, where there are like 3 people who used to live, before they even reached Ukrainian defenses in like Volchansk, for example. Oh boy, there was so much scream everywhere. Oh, Ukraine should give up. Well, how about now? Russia entered about like 15 kilometers. This could be 20, 30, 40 kilometers. And 430 square kilometers taken. How about now start screaming? Perhaps, oh, just to protect people, maybe Russia should give up to Ukraine and give Ukraine Kursk region, Belgorod region, Bryansk region, Rostov region, Orlov region, Orel, and so on. Why not? Let's stop bloodshed. Let's get to the table. Let's Russia give up to Ukraine all the territories. Yeah, Ukraine isn't in Belgorod region. Ukraine doesn't occupy Rostov region. But neither is Russia. Russia doesn't occupy Zaporizhia region, but Russia wants the whole Zaporizhia region. They already officially annexed it into Russia. So how about next step? Let's see what Russians has to say. This is Mardan, one Russian propagandists. And Russian media monitor translated what he has to say.
А хохлы находятся в Курской области. Под хохлами находится часть Суджи, райцентр. Да, это правда.
He is saying that there is no official confirmation of it, but this is true. So even Russian propagandists know what happens. He is using the slur and derogatory ways to call Ukrainians. And my Canadian husband pointed out that even propagandists on the Russian TV know that Ukrainians are not Russians. That is why they're using those terms. They're not admitting that Ukrainians are Russians. They approved by saying the derogatory terms about Ukrainians that Ukrainians are not Russians. And yet they're trying to get Ukraine. They're trying to attack Ukraine, invade Ukraine, and kill Ukrainians and grab their territory. In 2 days, by the evening of August 8th, at 6 o'clock, Ukraine has liberated 27 settlements and 430 plus square kilometers of territory. Some reported that Ukraine was as deep as 25 to 30 kilometers inside Russia. Now I heard information that it's close to 50 settlements liberated and about 2 district centers. One of them is Sudzha, which is right here. The same evening, the troops are barely 15 kilometers from Kursk Nuclear Power Plant, which is right here. And new brigades of Russia was consolidating near Bolshoye Soldatskaya. And Sudzha rail supply line for Kremlin troops has been cut out, and the gas pumping station serving 50% gas to European Union is in the hands of aliens. Kremlin propagandists don't understand why the bridges have not been blown up. Pessimism and criticism to the Kremlin is growing among its own propagandists. It is a desperate situation for Russian army. Russian Z channels reported that Ukrainian army has taken control of Sudzha gas metering station in Kursk region. This is that station. And Russian Z channels as Rybar, 2 majors, VCK GPU, and several other major Z channels which I monitor sometimes, mostly often through Michael Naki and his channel and so on. Yes, this is exactly what they were saying. Another piece of important information was about that first time in history helicopter downed by FPV drone in Kursk region. If you want, you can watch this video yourself. There is an interesting question how Ukrainian troops has ended up in Russia. What, Russia doesn't defend its borders? Apparently it doesn't. And on the borders were mostly conscripts who doesn't know anything yet. And they give themselves up to Ukrainians, which was smart thing to do. They didn't start this war, they didn't want to fight. And they will be way better in Ukrainian captivity than in Russian army. There are several reports. These are alive Russian troops who just giving themselves up. Over 100 of them. And I even heard that 300 or something like that of Russian troops perhaps. So these are Russian troops giving themselves up. And where were so-called TikTok forces, Chechens forces, like Ahmad, for example, which they say, Ahmad Sila, Ahmad is a power. The whole world are laughing at Chechen forces and call them TikTok warriors because they're only famous of posting videos on TikTok. This Chechen commander admits Russian losses, Ukrainian advances in Kursk Oblast. It's Alaudinov, commander of Chechen Ahmad unit, the famous Ahmad unit. That's what he said in his video on August 8th. That Ukrainian forces had advanced around 10 kilometers into Kursk Oblast, Kursk region, as of August 7th. At the same time, he was saying, oh, let's prepare popcorn and see how Russian army, mighty and strong, will kick Ukrainians out. Let's see how that played out. These are TikTok warriors of Ahmad shooting at the trees. That's all what they're good at. And meanwhile, none of them were surrendered, and amongst people who surrendered was only conscripts. There was no Ahmad people, because they are just simply not there. Later on, the same Alaudinov will start to say, oh, Ahmad troops are there, it's just Ukrainians choose to go around them. They just choose not to engage them, they just walk around. This is accurate representation of Chechen warriors. This is Adam Kadyrov, Kadyrov's son, who awarded for his exemplary defense of the Kursk Oblast, which is a meme, of course, but this is true. This is all what Chechen's units are good for. Now let's talk about real horrid event, which is expected to happen during the war. As I was always telling Russians, this is the aggressive war which Vladimir Putin started in somebody else's country. And it's silly to expect that this war will not come to our country. And this is exactly what happened. So this is between Rylsk and Ligiv, Kursk region. The Russian whole column was destroyed and eliminated. The first video appeared at night. They are saying they're shooting. I showed you the Oktyabrskoye where it happened. This is Rylsk and this is where it happened. And no, this all isn't made up. This is all was verified, geolocated, and so on. A morning video of destroyed Russian military convoy appeared online. The footage showed burned out trucks with the bodies of dozens of Russian soldiers scattered among them. According to Nexta, it is estimated that each of these trucks can carry up to 35 fully equipped military personnel. The video showed 14 destroyed vehicles, suggesting that the Russian army could have lost up to 490 soldiers in a single night of the strike. If this is true, this could be one of the largest single losses for the Russian army since the start of full-scale war. We were able to confirm the authenticity of the video and establish its geolocation. It was filmed in the village of Oktyabrskoye, Kursk region. Normally I don't do that, but I'll show you the pieces of this video. I keep in mind that nothing really as much visible on it, so I don't think it's a problem. So the vehicle is approaching the scene where the burned Russian column is standing. This is one truck. And more. The man was just saying he's this column of the vehicles, and this is the nest, which is we could see on the pictures. This is what left. This is Bukhanka. These are so many boys. So many guys died. Here's this place. I passed here. This place. Boys inside. Our men, he mean. Next is a reliable source of information. I'm watching them for a long time. All that's during this war and so on. And it's proved and confirmed where it happened. Next must have been cleaned up the original footage done by VCK OGPU, which is abbreviation of the previous organizations to KGB of the USSR and the FSB. It's a Telegram channel of the Russian Patriot, so-called. They are not patriots of Russia, they're just patriots of Putin. And if you thought Russians learn something, no they don't. This man from the Zvezda channel, military Russian channel, is saying that from Kursk to our positions go in the military columns.
Из Курска на наши позиции идет очередная партия военной техники.
This is Orlov, the correspondent of Zvezda. He's literally naming what is going on, what kind of equipment is going by. You can't fix an idiot. How Russia is responding onto foreign invasion of Russian territory. Russia is throwing air bombs. This is Russian village of Daryana. And Russia is throwing air bombs on the Russian village. Let's talk about Russian people. What is happening? This is according to Igor Sushko. Firefights and shelling have reached Lvov, which is just 14 miles east from Kursk Nuclear Power Plant on the E38 highway. Russians are fleeing Lvov, population 17,500. The Russian power plant is located in Kurchatov city, as I told you. This is Suja, which we talked about before, the region center. And yes, Russian stupidity is going way beyond of anything possible. Russia uses Kursk Nuclear Power Plant to store missile weapons and drones. They're doing it in Ukrainian Zaporizhia Nuclear Power Plant, they're doing it in Russian one. What a smart idea. But fear not Russian people! Russian usurper Tsar Putin is thinking about you. He is giving you whole 10,000 rubles for people who is in need and who had to run away from their own homes because Putin started an aggressive war in Ukraine. You know how much that is? It's about $115 for the destroyed houses. Meanwhile, according to Ruslan Leviev, for example, Putin is giving million and a half or million something to the soldiers who decided to sign a contract and go to fight the war in Ukraine in the same region. So if you lose your house, you'll receive $115, 10,000 rubles. If you go and die on Putin's war, you might receive $1 million. From Telegram channel Suja, this is what displaced people, because Putin's war kicked them out of their homes. And more displaced people from Suja. And if you think Russians learn anything, no, they didn't.
Суки, ненависть! Это твари какие-то, где наше правительство? Путин, помоги, пожалуйста! Помоги, пожалуйста!
She is screaming that Ukrainians are bad guys and where is our government? Putin, please help. Putin is the one who started this war in the first place. All what need to be done, stop the war, remove the troops from all the territory of Ukraine, legal territory of Ukraine since 1991. And nothing of this would have happened, nothing of this will continue to happen. But no, Russians doesn't learn anything, according to her anyways. And more slaves from Suja region, from Kursk region, Suja district, appealing to Putin, Tsar, please come and fix everything. The illegal Moscow regime can't fix anything. He is the reason why you're in this situation. This woman is Varvara Skibina, she is from Suja also.
Не дают! Ребята видят, они не дают команды стрелять! Не дают! Врут по телевизору! Врут! И врут! Твари врут! Спасал! Люди сами спасались!
She is saying people are saving themselves. Their administration government doesn't help. This is what accurately represents what Russians' war is all about. According to the information we just received, that Russians are evacuating valuables from the cities in the Kursk region. Perhaps Ukrainian military expert Roman Svitan is right. He is saying that it's easy to go to Moscow, bury Lenin and return back. According to him, the road to Moscow isn't defended and Ukrainians could go to Kremlin and end the war, probably. And these are Russian losses, thanks to Putin, since February 2022. Over 580, almost 590,000 troops. And every day I see this number. 1,030 people. And they don't even counting, I don't think, what's happening in Kursk region. This is what is happening in Ukraine. Russians keep bombing Ukraine, keep sending Shahid drones, keep sending missiles, keep killing Ukrainian people on the front and the peaceful civilians as well. And now 2 words about the situation in general. Basically, it's proven fact that Ukrainian forces entered Russian Federation and took big chunk of Russian territory. The destruction of column of Russian soldiers is confirmed as well. And it happens about right here. We don't know all that much. Ukrainian government officially doesn't confirm anything. So whoever will tell you, oh, this is and that, in the mind of Ukrainian army and Ukrainian commanders, they don't know it. At this point in time, we don't know all that much why Ukraine even started all of this. There are several versions and several ideas. One of them is to distract Russian forces, so they have to take some forces from the Kharkiv, for example, area and move here. There are some screams from Russian Federation about, oh, let's take Wagner out of Africa and bring whatever leftovers of Wagner to help them, or this and that. The situation on the front isn't much changed in the last few days. Only in 2 places on the front there are little tiny movement ahead on the Russian part. This is a Pokrovsk, and for example, we could see it in here. I'll show you what happened. Look at this part. That's about it. So, if Russia will take troops from some other parts of the front and move it into Kursk region, and Deep State doesn't update this information, there is no information about what is happening in here, and Russian Kharkiv offensive is just nothing to compare what Ukraine got, basically even in 1 day, let alone in 3, in Kursk region. So nothing marked in here in this map, and basically now cat is out of the bag. Even Russian Z-bloggers know about what is happening, so no point to keep silence anymore about this. In the end, I want to kind of wrap things up. I don't think there is a reason to speculate why Ukraine is doing it. We will find out it soon enough. There were some speculations about that gas hub or a nuclear power plant in Kurchatov Ukraine could capture and then exchange onto Russian living Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. I don't think these are valid kind of reasons. I think one of the valid reasons probably that Ukraine wants to Russia move some troops from different, like from Donbass or from Kharkov region to defend Kursk, and this will help Ukrainians to remove their troops from, let's say, defending Kharkov region and use them in the other parts of the front. That's perhaps makes sense. Or another important thing is Ukraine just proved that there are no red lines. There is nothing Putin can do. And even if Ukraine will move to Moscow, I don't think he has the forces to stop them. And definitely nothing happened. There is no nuclear war started over this or anything like that. On the contrary, Putin is trying to hide what is happening in Kursk. They stopped YouTube working. They stopped spreading information. They're giving huge sentences for people spreading information and videos about what is happening. So there is no reason to be afraid of him. And perhaps Kursk can learn Ukrainian and join Ukraine, get rid of Putin and his corrupt regime, and create a good life in the Kursk People Republic or something like that. And why not? As I said, when you open the Pandora box, the whole bunch of stuff come out. So Russia did it to Ukraine in Crimea. Why Ukraine cannot do it in Kursk? But these are just the thoughts. And what I like that foreign supporters of Ukraine, Germany, for example, or United States, didn't grab Ukraine by the hands and say, oh, don't do this. They basically said, we give Ukraine weapons. We gave Ukraine weapons and Ukraine can use them as Ukraine see fit. So as soon as we stop holding Ukraine back and grab them by the hands and stop them from winning this war, Ukraine is capable of winning this war and kick out Russia into the historic borders of 1991, internationally recognized borders, and finish this war. Even if they have to go to Moscow, perhaps it's easier. You never know. So these are just the thoughts. Before that were facts, which I find out for you. In the end, it's just my thoughts, and you're welcome to say in the comments what you think about it. Learn the truth and stay informed. See you later.